At 7:30 on a Sunday night, my 8-year-old daughter Emma walked into our apartment with purple bruises on her shins and her white church dress streaked with dirt. "Mom," she whispered. Uncle Jake said, "Maids and their kids don't belong in family photos." And he shoved me off the stone steps. I felt something inside me crack. This was my brother, and everyone just watched. No one helped her up. No one said a word. Be honest, if you were me, would you stay silent or think about revenge too? Am I the asshole for what I did next? Before you decide, hear the whole story. Tell me in the comments what you do and maybe subscribe so you don't miss how this ends. The next morning, I drove to my parents' old estate with my hands clenched so tight on the steering wheel, my knuckles were white. I dropped Emma off at school early. She gave me this tiny, brave smile and said, "It's okay, Mom. My legs don't hurt that much." And I had to smile back like everything was fine, while inside I was replaying her words from the night before. Uncle Jake said, "Maids and their kids don't belong in family photos." Then he pushed me. Tell me honestly, if that was your kid, would you be able to just let that go? The gates of the estate opened like they always did, like they recognized me, even if most of the people inside pretended I didn't belong anymore. This was the house I grew up in, the house my parents built. And yet somehow, over the years, it had turned into Jake's place. Jake's estate. Jake's show. I parked by the side, near the service entrance. Because of course, that's where I'm used to going now. It was weirdly symbolic. The maid's daughter arriving at the servant entrance to confront the man playing Lord of the Manor. Jake was on the terrace, lounging at this giant table like a king, flipping through the financial section of the paper. His wife, Lauren, was scrolling on her phone like she was allergic to eye contact with anyone who didn't own a yacht. Through the glass doors, I could see my Aunt Diane in the sitting room, chatting with Jake's business partner, Mark. The same people who watched Emma get shoved and did nothing. You know that feeling when your stomach turns just from seeing certain faces? That. Jake looked up. "Wow, Rachel," he said, eyebrows raised. "Don't you have work or something? Monday morning surprise visit?" It came out half joke, half accusation. Like he owned my time. Like he owned everything. "We need to talk," I said. My voice sounded calmer than I felt. "All of you, living room, now." Lauren let out this little laugh like I'd just told the world's funniest joke. "I'm sorry, what? You don't get to march in here and start barking orders," she said, leaning back in her chair. "This isn't your little apartment, Rachel." I looked her straight in the eye. "Living room, 10 minutes. Harold Caldwell is on his way with documents you're all going to want to see." That got their attention. Jake's face shifted. Just a flicker, but I caught it. "Harold, why the hell are you calling our family attorney without talking to me first?" he snapped. I didn't answer. I just turned and walked inside. You know that moment when you decide you're done explaining yourself? That was it. If you're still watching this, stick with me here. This is where the "am I the asshole" question really starts to form. We gathered in the living room, my childhood living room. The same rug where I used to do homework while my mom played piano. Now I felt like an intruder in my own memories. Aunt Diane stood up as I walked in, her smile strained. "Rachel, sweetheart," she said, "what's all this drama? Jake said you were upset about some little playground thing yesterday." "Playground thing?" My jaw clenched so hard it hurt. "Playground thing?" I repeated. "Emma came home with bruises on both legs because your nephew shoved her down stone steps and told her maids and their kids don't belong in family photos." "That's not a playground thing, Aunt Diane. That's cruelty." Jake waved a hand like he was batting away a fly. "Oh, come on, Rach. Don't be dramatic. I barely touched her. She was standing in the wrong spot blocking Aunt Diane. I just moved her over. She's so sensitive." Lauren chimed in without looking up from her phone. "Yeah, Jake told me. Your daughter was being disruptive, running around during a formal photo. He just redirected her. That's what parents should do, Rachel. Get control of their kids." "She was standing still," I said, my voice low, holding Grandma's hand. "She wasn't running. You kicked her, Jake, and you called her the maid's kid." For a second, the room went very still. Then the doorbell rang. I went to answer it because no one else moved. Harold was there in his gray suit, holding a heavy briefcase, expression serious. He'd known our family forever. He looked past me into the house and gave me this tiny nod, like, "You sure you're ready?" I nodded back. No turning back now. "Good morning, Rachel," he said. "Thank you for having me." Behind me, Jake appeared in the hallway. "Harold, what is going on? This is highly irregular. I don't know what Rachel told you, but..." "Mr. Peterson?" Harold cut in, suddenly all business. "I'm here at the request of the trustee. We should sit down." The trustee. Jake didn't catch it. But I did. And in a few minutes, everyone else would too. We all took our seats in the living room. My heart was hammering, but my hands were steady. I sat where my mom used to sit during family meetings. It felt right. Harold opened his briefcase, pulled out a thick folder, and set it on the coffee table. "I've been instructed," he began, "to review the structure of the Peterson Family Trust established 6 years ago by Robert and Elizabeth Peterson." Jake leaned forward like he was about to give a TED Talk on money. "Harold, I get that Rachel wants to understand the family finances," he said, "but this could have been handled privately, not..." "Thomas Jacob Peterson," Harold said sharply, using his full name. "I'm going to ask you to let me finish." And in that moment, with Harold's voice echoing through the room, with Emma's bruised little legs burned into my mind, I thought, if this is revenge, then it's revenge my parents built with their own hands. Before I go on, what would you have done in my place? Let me know in the comments, because this is where everything starts to unravel. Harold adjusted his glasses, flipped open the file, and the energy in the room shifted. You know that feeling when you can physically sense something big coming? That's exactly what it felt like. If you're still listening, hit like. So this shows up for someone who maybe needs to hear what boundaries can look like when a bully finally gets called out. The Peterson Family Trust, Harold read, is currently valued at approximately $42 million. You could feel Lauren sit up a little straighter at the word million. It includes this estate, 7 residential investment properties, a diversified stock portfolio, and other assets. The trust generates roughly $2.1 million in annual income. Lauren's eyes practically sparkled at that. I've seen that look from her at dinner parties when Jake bragged about his real estate. That sick mix of greed and pride. Jake nodded slowly, like, yes, this is my empire. For a split second, he looked proud of Harold, as if this was his personal PR moment. Harold continued, completely unfazed by the performance. "Thomas, you currently receive an annual allowance of $300,000 from this trust. In addition to that, you and your wife live rent-free in this primary estate. All maintenance, staff, and operational costs, approximately $400,000 annually, are paid by the trust." Jake gave me this smug side eye, like, see what I provide? Meanwhile, I was thinking, I provided that. I approved every one of those transfers. Then Harold pulled out another document, and this was the moment that changed everything. "However," he said, "you are not the trustee of this estate. You never have been. The sole trustee with complete control over all assets and distributions is Rachel Peterson." Silence. Like actual full ringing silence. Lauren blinked. "I'm sorry, what?" she said, her voice cracking. That's impossible. Rachel lives in a tiny downtown apartment. She works at a museum. You're telling me she's been controlling $42 million this whole time? "She does control it," Harold replied calmly. "And she has since your in-laws passed away. Every dollar Thomas receives, every estate expense, every investment decision, all of it has been authorized by Rachel for the past 6 years." Jake's face went pale in a way I've never seen. "No," he said. "No, Dad wouldn't..." He knew I was supposed to take over. He told me. "Your father was very concerned about your judgment with money," Harold cut in. "He and your mother discussed this at length. They wanted to protect the family wealth while still providing you with a comfortable living. That is why they made the trust irrevocable with Rachel as the trustee." I finally spoke up, my voice steady. "I let you live here, Jake. I approved your allowance without question. I stayed out of your way and let you cosplay family patriarch because it made you feel important. I didn't want to humiliate you," I took a breath. "But you shoved my daughter down a flight of stone steps. You called her the maid's kid. You turned my parents' house into a stage where you could degrade us. Aunt Diane put a hand over her mouth. Rachel, I didn't know, she whispered. Jake always said he was managing everything. We thought you just didn't want the responsibility. She manages nothing, I said, nodding toward Lauren. And Jake manages even less. Harold, tell them the condition in the trust. Harold flipped to another page. The trust states that Thomas is entitled to his allowance and residence only so long as he treats all family members with dignity and respect. The trustee has sole discretion to determine whether this condition is being met. Jake stood up so fast, his chair scraped the floor. You can't cut me off over some misunderstanding with a kid, he yelled. She's 8. Kids exaggerate. This is insane, Rachel. Are you seriously doing some kind of revenge stunt right now? Are you that jealous? That's what you're worried about? I asked quietly. Whether this is revenge, not the fact that you hurt a child? He glared at me. Am I the asshole for not wanting a screaming kid ruining a formal photo? Is that what this is about? There it was. The sentence that made even Harold shift uncomfortably. I looked him dead in the eye. This isn't about a photo, I said. This is about you thinking Emma is less than you. Less than your kids. Less than your status. And it's about you forgetting the one rule our parents built into everything they left behind. Don't be a bully. I turned to Harold. Effective immediately, Jake's allowance is suspended. He has 60 days to vacate the estate. Lauren gasped. You can't just throw us out. Our kids grew up here. Where are we supposed to go? To some basic condo? You can't do this to us. I can, I said, and I am. This isn't your house. It never was. It belongs to the trust, and I control the trust. I'll extend one courtesy. You'll receive an additional 3 months of your current allowance to help you transition. After that, your allowance drops to $100,000 a year. You'll submit quarterly reports on how it's spent. If you lie, if you misrepresent anything, your allowance goes to 0. Jake stared at me like he didn't recognize me. You're ruining my life over one bad moment, he said. One bad day. Harold, I asked, ignoring him. Tell me about the 7 properties. What's he been telling people? Harold sighed. Thomas and Lauren live rent-free here. They do not own the 7 investment properties. However, I've learned Thomas has been telling friends and potential investors that he owns $7 million worth of real estate. He's suggested those properties back his business ventures. My stomach dropped. He's been using assets he doesn't own to raise money? He can't legally borrow against them, Harold clarified, but he's been implying, strongly. I turned to Mark, his business partner, who'd been eerily quiet. You invested in his development project, right? I asked. The one he said was backed by family properties. How much? Mark swallowed hard. $200,000, he said. He told me there was no real risk, that with $7 million in assets behind him, the project couldn't fail. The project already has failed, I said. I went through the accounts last night. Jake lost all of your investment, Mark, and he blew another $300,000 of his allowance trying to fix it. He was planning to use his next quarter's allowance to patch the hole before you found out. I watched Jake sink into his chair, the fight draining out of him. For once, he had no clever comeback. So here we are, I said. You hurt my kid. You lied to your family. You deceived your investor. You played king in a house you don't own. And you're asking if I'm the asshole? If you're still here, let me know in the comments. Is this revenge, or is this just consequences finally catching up? 3 weeks later, the estate didn't feel like Jake's stage anymore. It felt like a project, a responsibility, something I was finally stepping into instead of hiding from. Harold called me with updates while I was sitting at my tiny kitchen table, sipping reheated coffee after work. It was such a weird contrast, $46 million in assets being discussed in a 2-bedroom apartment that smells faintly like crayons and mac and cheese. Rachel, Harold said, the appraisal came back. The estate is now valued closer to $46 million. We've got the property management firm in place. The new security system is installed. Codes changed, locks updated. Thomas and Lauren moved out last weekend. Where did they end up? I asked. A condo in the suburbs. No, he replied. Smaller, but perfectly nice. They'll be fine. Also, Mark has officially filed a lawsuit against Thomas for investment fraud. I won't lie to you. Part of me felt sick hearing that. I never wanted my brother in legal trouble. But another part of me thought about Emma lying on our couch with ice packs on her legs, whispering, "Why does Uncle Jake hate me?" And I felt clarity. You can love someone and still recognize they're dangerous. You can set boundaries that look like revenge from the outside, but are really about protection. Aunt Diane? I asked. Did she follow through? Yes, Harold said. She visited Emma with flowers and a stack of books. From what I saw, the apology seemed sincere. And it was. Emma told me later, Aunt Diane cried a little. She said, "I was a coward. I saw what happened and I chose the photo over you." That sentence hit me like a punch. Chose the photo over you. How many adults in Emma's life had done exactly that? Smiled for the camera while a child cried off to the side? Later that week, Harold said, "Thomas has requested a meeting to apologize." "No," I said immediately. The word surprised even me with how fast it came out. If he's truly sorry, he can write Emma a letter, not me, not a performance. A letter to the 8-year-old he pushed down the stairs. If it's sincere, I'll consider supervised visits. Neutral locations only. Harold paused. "You know, your parents would be proud of how you're handling this." I hung up and just sat there for a minute, staring at the chipped edge of our kitchen table. You ever have one of those moments where you realize you're not the same person you were a month ago? That somehow, without meaning to, you crossed a line into being stronger, harder? I had always been the quiet sibling, the reasonable one, the one who didn't make waves. Now I was the one cutting off a grown man's allowance and kicking him out of a mansion. Am I the asshole? Or am I just finally stepping into the role my parents chose for me? That night, when I tucked Emma into bed, she was her usual thoughtful self. She hugged Mr. Whiskers, her stuffed cat, and looked up at me. "Mom," she asked, "were Grandma and Grandpa rich?" I smiled a little. "They were comfortable," I said. "They worked hard. They saved. They made good choices. And yes, they had money, but more important than that, they thought about what would happen to us after they were gone." "And they left it to you?" she asked. "They left it in a trust for the whole family," I said. "My job is to take care of it and use it wisely. Kind of like how you take care of Mr. Whiskers." She looked down at the stuffed animal and nodded seriously. "So you're like the boss of the money house," she said. I laughed. "Something like that." "Then I think you did a good job," she said simply, "because Uncle Jake wasn't being wise when he pushed me." That sentence almost broke me. Not he hurt me, not he was mean, but he wasn't being wise. That's how kids frame trauma sometimes, like a bad choice, not cruelty. I kissed her forehead and turned off the light, my mind spinning. My parents knew exactly who Jake was. They knew his weaknesses, his ego, his love of status, his impulsive spending, his need to be the man. And they still tried to take care of him. They built this entire trust structure so he could live comfortably without burning the family legacy to the ground. But they also quietly put the safety switch in my hands. Treat the family with dignity and respect or you lose access. Sounds simple until the person failing that condition is your own brother. So here's what changed after all of this. The estate is now managed by professionals. No more Jake playing king with fake collateral. The money is being invested responsibly. The properties are protected. My aunt has learned painfully what looking away costs. Mark is fighting for his money and, honestly, for the truth. And Jake? Jake is learning to live in a world where he isn't the main character funded by someone else's wallet. Most importantly, Emma is growing up in a small apartment. Not a mansion, but she's learning something bigger than wealth. That her pain matters. That her voice matters. That if someone pushes her, literally or figuratively, there are consequences. And that her mom will burn every fake thrown to the ground before she lets anyone treat her like the maid's kid again. Real power isn't the big house, or the cars, or the family photo where everyone pretends to be perfect. Real power is knowing what you control and being willing to use it when it counts. Real power is saying, no, you don't get to hurt my child and still enjoy the benefits my parents meant for a loving family. So, tell me, after hearing all this, am I the asshole? Or was this revenge overdue? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share this with someone who needs a reminder to set boundaries. And if you want to hear how that letter from Jake turns out, if he ever sends it, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next part. So now, this is where things stand. My brother's out of the mansion, the lawyers are dealing with the mess he created, the estate is finally being managed like my parents intended, and I'm back in our little apartment, packing Emma's lunch and walking her to school like any other mom. From the outside, it probably just looks like drama in a rich family, but inside, it feels like I finally picked myself. I picked my daughter. I chose her bruised little legs over a perfect family photo. Do I still wonder if I went too far? Yeah, there are nights I lie awake and think, am I in the wrong? Did I let anger and revenge speak louder than grace? But then I remember Emma asking, Mom, why did no one help me? And I know that if I'd stayed quiet, that would have broken something in both of us. The lesson for me? Love doesn't mean letting people walk all over you just because they share your DNA. Boundaries aren't cruelty. Sometimes they're the only real apology kids ever get. If you made it this far, tell me what you'd do in my shoes in the comments. And if stories like this make you think, hit like, share it with a friend, and subscribe so we can unpack more messy, honest stuff together.